I got my draft sound. I got Crevonte. It's time for more draft profiles. You have been asking for them, Flex Zone family, football fans, and we're back to give them to you on the only place giving you that draft coverage, Crevonte. How you want it?
when you need it.
And I know this profile, this prospect is someone that you loved for multiple years, Crevonte. I know you love him. He's from the same city as you. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to your Commanders, but we'll
No,
get to that later. But it's a foregone conclusion he will be a Chicago Bear. DC, PG County's own Caleb Williams Cravante. When you hear about Caleb Williams, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Because he's probably been the most polarizing prospect in this whole process.
at least, and I would say at least the last 2 years, going back to his Heisman trophy campaign. But if you've seen him play the last 2 years, especially last year, and I'm not talking about 2023, I'm talking about 2022, during football season. Um, Patrick Mahomes, man. That like, and I usually don't like jumping ahead talking about player comps, but he looks like Patrick Mahomes. The off script passing, the wow plays. Um, he really doesn't have too. The only thing I think he's gonna run into is that he would do off script too much, but he looks like Patrick Mahomes, and that was the comp. Is like day one when he led the Oklahoma Sooners back from when they were down against Texas, and they came all the way back and won. Since then, it's like, yo, this guy is it. And then he get up with Lincoln Riley, go to USC, and it's like it's up from here. But yeah, as I see Patrick Mahomes, and that's not no slight saying he's gonna be the greatest ever, because Patrick Mahomes is low key the GOAT right now. Not saying he's gonna be that necessarily, but he has the same tools and similar characteristics of a Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, Caleb Williams, as we know, we talked about this beforehand. He didn't do anything at the combine. He did show up at his pro day and perform. He's 6'1, 214 pounds, 32-inch arms, 9 3/4 inch hands. I mean, Cravante, we can nitpick and tear apart the film. We know he didn't play well against Notre Dame. We know he didn't have the best defense. Hell, I don't even think this past season he had the best weapons. I know 2 years ago he had Addison and some of those other guys. I don't think even this year he really had that many. Think about how many guys in USC offense outside of him are going to get drafted. Probably not many in the first couple of rounds. The defense we know isn't good. I mean, this guy really elevated his team, and you kind of knew he was the guy, and you really couldn't do much about him. 2021, real quick, he was a freshman All American, played in 11 games, started the final seven, 1,900 yards, 21 touchdowns, 4 picks, and he actually was in the Heisman Trophy conversation. 2022, where he did win the Heisman, seventh in USC history. He had, what did he have? Only 5 interceptions, 10 touchdowns on the ground, 113 carries, 382 yards. And what was he passing? 4,537 yards, fourth in school history in 2023. He still got it done with 30 touchdowns, 3,600 passing yards, 5 interceptions, 11 rushing touchdowns, which led the team. Like I said, not many offensive weapons on the team. And he started every game, Crevante. I mean, he doesn't turn the ball over, and he seems like he's got it all together. I think it's more about the off the field, if anything.
I absolutely. I'm not questioning anything about him football wise. I The tape speaks for itself. Like, it's a reason why he didn't uh do anything at the combine, because he knows as well as most of anybody who watches football a little bit knows that he's the best prospect right now. The best quarterback prospect since we've had in, pretty much since, and it wasn't that long ago, but since Trevor Lawrence coming out. Now, he's not a perfect prospect, but he is the best of what the modern day football the football GMs and coaches look for, because of the success of like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, guys that can mix it up a little bit and do well off script. And off script, it seems to be the way to go, and he does that very, very well. So I don't think it's no ifs, ands, or buts. On the field, he's the guy. It's the off the field things. How well is he? I wanted to see, what do they say about him in the interviews. What is he saying? How much is football in his heart? You know what I'm saying? Can he run? Because essentially, your quarterback is a CEO. You know what I'm saying? Like, can he? Do you feel comfortable with him running this $1 billion business? You know what I'm saying? You giving him the keys to the Ferrari. Now, and no pun intended with all of what's going on with Rasheed Rice, but he got the keys. Now, is he going to drive responsibly? Is he going to drive fast? Is he going to drive slow? How long is it going to take him to get to where you got to go?
Well, let's project him, Crevonte. We pretty much know he's going to be the first pick. We pretty much know he's going to be the guy at one. Projecting him to a Chicago Bears. They add a DeAndre Swift. They trade for Keenan Allen. They still got a DJ Moore, another Maryland guy. Cole Kmet. They have
Yep.
a defense that was number one in the NFL, Crevonte, since trading for your guy. Montez Sweat led sacks for the Commanders and the Bears. I think I even said on the Flex Zone episode, I like what they're doing in Chicago. I would not be surprised if they are in the playoffs this coming season. I know that's putting a lot on the rookie, but it seems like they're not going to make him do a lot because they're going to have guys around him and a defense that can hold him down.
And that's the idea. I don't care how great or how big of a superstar any quarterback was in college. You going to the next level. Like, everybody is pretty much on your level. It's rare for a rookie to come in and just blaze. You know what I'm saying? So the situation is big. I think a lot of people forget that when we're talking about these quarterbacks, like, oh, just because he's able to do this in college, it's automatically going to translate. No, there's still a learning curve. Everybody's bigger, faster, stronger. So there will be some adjustment that have to be made. So it's in the team who is picking him, is in the GM's best interest to give him as much as you possibly can to maximize his success, because we see the potential. The potential was there. And also, he's going to an organization that um, doesn't do well with developing quarterbacks. So, I mean, in 2 to 3 years, he'll probably had the best numbers out of any quarterback, any Chicago quarterback. If he plays 3 straight years without getting hurt, he'll probably be the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history, just off stats. You know what I'm saying? Because Chicago just doesn't. They're one of those organizations that is about defense. Like, they big on defenses. Like, the best Chicago Bear ever is probably Brian Urlacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, Michael Singletary, guys like the defenders, guys who led their defenses. My ex head coach, Rivera was over there. You know what I'm saying? So they've been known for have defensive guys and great defenses. Quarterback is kind of an afterthought, and I think this is Chicago's attempt to say, hey, let's get into the modern era so we can actually compete. Because I think Chicago, with their defense, if you get a stellar quarterback, you in every game. You know what I'm saying? And giving this young brother weapons would do nothing but good. Now we just got to see how is he in the locker room. I'm hoping that they talk to not just Lincoln Riley, because we know Lincoln Riley loves him. Are you talking to guys in a locker room? Pull up a couple of his teammates. How about the equipment guy, the equipment manager, and the trainers? What are they saying about him? Because that's the real. You know what I'm saying? Because Kayla, it's with Lincoln Riley, it's easy. It's easy for them to say, "Oh, he's amazing. He's this or that." How do you treat the people that you don't see every day? So, but that's up to the due diligence of the scouting department and asking the right questions, because we've seen some things that's skeptical about Caleb Williams. So you see how we haven't really talked, we ain't got into no strengths and weaknesses. We're only talking about the character part, which I guess in this case would be a weakness, because like I said, he checks all the boxes, except he's probably a little undersized, but he's 6'1". He does enough. You know what I'm saying? I feel like. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other things you want to throw out there about? I know we talked about the off the field. Any weaknesses on the field? Any strengths you want to highlight? And I'm really loving the low turnovers. And another prospect we'll get into that maybe your quarterback is very good with that. We saw C.J. Stroud come into the league, not throw a lot of interceptions. And so I think what 5 this year, 4, and I think only 6 as a freshman. So I mean, no, 4 as a freshman, 5 his Heisman Trophy year, and then what do you have this year? He had 5 this year, so nothing over 5. And boy, the NFC North is going to be fun to watch with Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and probably the Vikings too will have a rookie at some point. I'm guessing with their draft capital. So that'll be an interesting division. But anything strengths and weaknesses on the field and another player comp? I know we said Mahomes, but did you have anybody else in mind by chance?
Um, I just I just love the Patrick Mahomes because the sidearm throwing, the not to throw on the run, like he just reminds me of Patrick Mahomes so much. I really haven't thought too much of anybody else really, but he has one thing that rookies don't do well, and I've said this before at Flex Zone or just us talking. Rookies not turn the ball over. We all know I'm not, Peyton Manning had a wild rookie season. That's like the norm because you're asking a young stud over number overall pick. You basically planning for him to be a superstar. He's probably gonna throw the ball a lot. You throw the ball. The more times you throw the ball, the more chances you put the ball in harm's way. CJ Stroud did amazing with that this past football season. Caleb Williams does that very, very well, especially for somebody who goes off script a lot. Use that's the time where a lot of sacks happen, and a lot of interceptions happen, a lot of fumbles happen. I think that was one thing that's a negative. That was one weakness that fumbles. It's not just interceptions; it's fumbles as well. He doesn't throw the ball in harm's way, but sometimes he holds the ball a little too long. But that's the gunslinger mentality. He's going to do what he got to do to. He wants the big play. That I think that's another weakness. Whoever his offensive coordinator, and again, I don't like this for him because Matt Eberflus is probably going to be gone next year. Being honest, I think that's what's going to happen because you need somebody who's going to hone in on him and have him relax and calm down. Patrick Mahomes, we know that, and him and Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes want to go for the bomb, go for the big plays, but you have to slow down, especially when Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill. That's when he really had to like, all right, I gotta check it down because I don't have the talent that I once had, and still finding a way to win. I think having him settle down early, like, listen, you're not hitting the grand slam every play. You're not hitting a home run every play. You have to take the first base, the double hits and all that early so you can live to fight another day. Also, you don't put the ball in harm's way, which you already do a great job at that. So him at 6'1", 215, little bit undersized, a little bit. Um, the great thing is that he moves very well in the pocket and outside the pocket, and he's really good with his accuracy. But you know, putting on some weight, getting that offensive line together is always a positive for a young quarterback because it's going to be a shock. Like I said, everybody's better. So I'm hoping he does not hold the ball as long as he did at USC because he not gonna have that much time. And it looked like he didn't have that much time at USC. He's really not gonna have that much time in the NFC North or in the NFL as a whole because again, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. So um and also it was really all on him. Can he play well within the offense? Again, Chicago Bears really don't do offense that well. They're gonna have to shift their thinking for Caleb Williams to be able to thrive. Um, his mechanics, footwork, um, it could be everywhere. It could be a little bit everywhere, but I think that's just him relying on his talent, his pure arm talent, and foot, like speed and agility to get out of situations. But his mechanics can use some work. But I feel like that's something that can be worked on. But his arm talent hides that very, very, very well. At the next level, in any profession, fundamentals is key. It's not sexy, like Tim Duncan and all that, a big fundamental. He wasn't the sexiest, player, and in basketball, but he got the job done. And he got championships to prove it. I think that's one thing that as Caleb Williams grows, he's gonna have the fundamentals. We already know you can do all the fun stuff, the cool stuff, but can you do the regular stuff the right way and on a consistent basis? Because we see what you could do. You're very, very accurate. And he throws a great deep ball. Probably not the best. I think that goes to Jaden Daniels, but he's right there. I think he's right there. very accurate and accurate on the move. I think that's something that we overlook because we feel like they should just be able to do it. But my gosh, he's really, really good. And also, we talked about it. Not that much talent. I don't think too many number one picks are going to come from this team, offense or defense. It's really, especially last year, it was really all Caleb. Like there was no way he was going to win back to back Heisman's. You know what I'm saying? But um, let me see what else. What else? What else? Very flashy, and not necessarily in a bad way. He's looking for the big plays, and and he's not afraid to scramble, obviously, and is very, very, again, I can't stress this enough, extremely accurate. And can he be a natural leader? And his maturity is his one single negative that I am concerned about. The having the fingernails, painting the fingernails, having explicitive words. Um, can he clean it up the next level? Because now he going into grown men territory. So he has to lead grown men, and he needs to lead by example. And if that's the example off the field, he's gonna have some problems. But I think he'll be okay. We're gonna see some wild plays in his first year because that's Caleb. We're gonna see some very good plays. But will he win a lot of games? Probably not. Um, he will have the opportunity to be rookie of the year. Um, he'll have the opportunity to throw the ball. Yes, the thumbs up. He will absolutely throw the ball, but he needs to just slow himself down, continue to not turn the ball over via picks, but also fumbling. So not holding the ball too long. But that's going to come with as the year goes on. He's not going to get it immediately. It's not going to happen immediately. So if they win 5, 6 games, I don't think that's terrible. I don't think that's terrible at all.
Hey, we'll see. Chicago, cold weather, going from USC to Chicago. We know how that can be. We know how that division can be. You got to go to
Bye,
Lambeau.
Hurricane.
Yep, I can hear you. I can hear you. You just froze for a second, but you got to go to Lambeau. Got to go to Detroit, and you got to play in Chicago. That is going to be something that we definitely keep our eyes on. Crevonte, I don't know if I lost you, but yeah, we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams. Any final thoughts, Crevonte?
One thing, Chicago's not Southern California. that's another thing. That means at least we talking. Well, at least the Vikings and the let's call them the Pistons, but the Lions are indoors. But you're outdoors at least 8 games. Well, has the 18th game been confirmed? Like, is that happening next year, or is it? Yeah,
Not next year, but I know they flip flop how many home games. So they may have nine home games this year, and then they could have 8 the next year, and then it alternates. So it could be 10 or 11 outdoor cold games. Who knows?
and of course, and you got the Packers twice. So we're talking 11, probably possibly 11, including home games and the Packers game. We're not talking about nobody else because we still got outside. We're just talking about your home games and division. So it's gonna be cold all the time. Now he is from DC, so I'm not saying he don't know cold weather. I'm just saying he may not know Chicago cold weather. And that may be the reason why a lot of good quarterbacks don't come out of Chicago. But we're hoping that he could break that curse because he's a very, very exciting player.
He's a very exciting player, Crevonte. You are exciting too, my brother. And when you hear this sound in less than 2 weeks, you know what time it is. It's Caleb Williams will be your presumptive number one pick. We'll be back with more draft profiles here on the Flex Zone Podcast.